In a secluded village hidden deep within the mist-shrouded mountains of China, a foreboding legend lingered among the villagers, one that spoke of an ancient, forgotten ritual. The legend warned of dark forces that had once been kept at bay by the ritual, a ceremony now lost to time. The villagers lived in constant fear of the consequences of this forgotten ceremony, believing that the very fabric of their safety and prosperity was unraveling. May, a curious and fearless young girl, had always been fascinated by the village's dark lore. Despite the warnings of the elders, she spent her days exploring the abandoned corners of the village and the forest that encroached upon it. One chilly autumn evening, while rummaging through the attic of her ancestral home, May stumbled upon a dust-covered chest buried beneath old, moth-eaten blankets. Inside was a leather-bound book, its cover adorned with strange arcane symbols that seemed to writhe and twist in the dim light. Her hands trembling with a mix of excitement and apprehension, May opened the book. The pages were yellowed with age, filled with cryptic illustrations and a text written in an archaic script that she could barely decipher. It spoke of a ritual that had once been performed to appease ancient, malevolent spirits that lurked in the shadows of the mountain. The ritual, it seemed, was intended to ensure the safety of the village and maintain balance between the realms of the living and the dead. According to the book, the ritual involved several elements: an offering of specific herbs, a midnight ceremony performed in a sacred grove, and the creation of a talisman imbued with the power to seal away the restless spirits. The final part of the ritual required an incantation, a powerful spell designed to trap the spirits in a liminal space, preventing them from crossing over into the physical world. Despite the chilling nature of the book's contents, May felt an overwhelming sense of determination. The village had been suffering from a series of misfortunes: crops failing, livestock dying, and strange, unsettling occurrences in the dead of night. May believed that restoring the ritual might be the key to reversing their fortunes. She approached Elder Lin, the village's oldest resident, whose knowledge of folklore and history was unparalleled. The elder's face grew pale as May described her discovery. "Elder Lin, you found the book." The ritual was forgotten for a reason. It was too dangerous. The spirits that were bound by that ceremony are not to be trifled with. They are ancient and vengeful. "May, but if it can help our village, we have to try. I'm willing to take the risk." Elder Lin, sighing heavily, "If you must proceed, remember this: the spirits are not forgiving. They are bound by their own ancient laws, and they do not forget those who disturb their slumber." With Elder Lin's reluctant blessing, May began her preparations. She ventured into the dark woods, gathering the herbs described in the book: dried mugwort, wormwood, and black nightshade. Each plant held a grim significance, used in rituals that were as old as the village itself. As the summer solstice approached, the air grew heavy with an unsettling quiet. The villagers spoke in hushed tones about the strange occurrences: the cold drafts that swept through their homes, the shadows that moved of their own accord. May, undeterred, prepared for the ritual with meticulous care. On the night of the solstice, the moon hung full and ominous in the sky. May arrived at the grove, a secluded and eerie place deep within the forest. The trees seemed to close in around her as if trying to swallow the grove in darkness. May set up the ritual. As described in the book, the herbs were arranged in a circle around a makeshift altar where she had fashioned the talisman from clay and adorned it with symbols of the sun and moon. As midnight approached, the air grew colder, and an oppressive silence settled over the grove. May lit the ceremonial candles, their flickering flames casting eerie shadows that danced along the forest floor. The wind began to howl, and May's breath became visible in the chilling air. With a heart full of dread and resolve, May began the incantation. Her voice quivered as she recited the ancient words, each syllable carrying a weight of fear and hope. The forest seemed to respond, the shadows lengthening and darkening. The temperature dropped further, and May could see her breath forming ghostly plumes in the cold air. Suddenly, the ground beneath May began to tremble. The earth cracked open, and a chilling, foul stench rose from the fissure. The shadows coalesced into grotesque shapes, writhing and contorting as if trying to escape the bounds of their imprisonment. May's heart raced, but she continued the incantation, desperately trying to maintain her focus. The spectral entities, their forms shifting between the grotesque and the eerie, began to emerge from the rift. Their eyes, hollow and malevolent, fixed on May with a hunger that sent shivers down her spine. Their whispers filled the grove, a cacophony of anguish and rage that seemed to seep into May's very soul. An icy hand grasped May's shoulder, sending a jolt of terror through her. The touch was like a knife of freezing steel. May struggled to keep her composure, her voice trembling as she pressed on with the incantation. The spirits began to swirl around her, their forms distorting and merging into nightmarish visions. In a final, desperate act, May completed the incantation and placed the talisman on the altar. A blinding light erupted from the talisman, filling the grove with a searing, purifying glow. The spirits screeched and writhed in agony as they were pulled back into the rift, which began to close with a deafening roar. The light grew so intense that May had to shield her eyes, the heat radiating from the talisman scorching her skin. The ground settled with a heavy thud, and the forest fell eerily silent. May collapsed on the ground, her body trembling with exhaustion and fear. As the first light of dawn broke through the trees, she saw that the grove had returned to its serene state, though the air was still tinged with a lingering chill. The rift was gone, leaving no trace of the horrors that had emerged from it. When May returned to the village, the atmosphere had changed. The misfortunes that had plagued them began to lift. The crops grew lush and green, and the strange occurrences ceased. The villagers were astonished and overjoyed by the sudden turn of events, though some could not shake the uneasy feeling of having brushed against something beyond their understanding. Elder Lin approached May, his face etched with both relief and concern. "Elder Lin, you have done something remarkable, May. But remember, the ritual was not merely a safeguard. It was a warning. There are forces beyond our comprehension, and while you have restored the balance, you must never forget the price of meddling with the unknown." May nodded solemnly, understanding the gravity of what she had encountered. The forgotten ritual had been revived, and with it, the fragile peace between their world and the dark forces that lurked just beyond the veil. The village lived on, forever changed by the night. The forgotten ritual was restored. The tale of May's courage became a cautionary legend, a reminder of the delicate balance between their world and the shadows that lie beyond. The ritual was performed each year with reverence, not just as a tradition but as a safeguard against the darkness that might one day seek to escape once more. And so the village thrived, its prosperity a testament to the power of the ritual and the bravery of a young girl who dared to confront the darkness that others had long feared to face.